Welcome to Sitcom Showdown, a podcast that reviews classic sitcom episodes and inducts them into our very own Hall of Fame. As usual, one of us has chosen a sitcom episode and the other guy has no idea what it's going to be. Will they already know it? Will they love it? Can they be convinced that it's worthy? Let's find out on the Sitcom Showdown. Hello and welcome to Sitcom Showdown, episode 55. As Jeff is here, and hi Steve.
Hello listeners, how are you? It's great to have you with us.
As always. Your turn, Steve.
Yeah, well first I was going to say a thank you to Michael Sandford and Norwal Music, who've both given us some YouTube comments recently.
Aha.
Which is always appreciated.
Yes, it really is.
Yes, so good on them.
Yeah.
That was great. Alright, so what have I chosen this time? I've chosen a sitcom called Quacks.
Aha. I've heard of this.
You have heard of this?
Yes.
Yes.
I've got you the DVD import for your birthday.
Yes,
or Christmas.
That's why you've heard of it. And it's an episode called The Physician's Hernia.
So does that mean one of our cast is in a bit of trouble? Or is that spoilers?
Yeah, and I'm not gonna say at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's the final episode of the series.
Right.
Episode 6 of season 1.
Did they do a season 2?
No, they never did.
Oh.
Which was a bit sad. Shall I tell you a bit about Quacks?
Yeah.
Yes. It's a period sitcom set in the 1840s at a time when medicine was making a transition from being mumbo-jumbo, essentially, to something a bit more scientific. But there is a bit of trial and error involved in these things, Jeffrey.
Dangerous trial and error? Okay.
Can be a bit dangerous. Not so much for the doctors, but for the people they're working on. So there is a bit of
gore?
surgical gore or something like that.
Oh, you mean at the beginning when they'll say, semi-violent scenes, some strong language, medical gore.
Yeah.
Yes. Parental advisory recommended.
You've watched a bit of this now.
Yeah.
What how did it strike you? Are you a bit squeamish? Or?
Well, I'm not mega fond of watching open surgery and stuff. These days, if one was watching one of the newer medical shows, at least they're surrounded by nice, clean surroundings and are wearing gloves and have a very calming, nice person doing a voiceover to tell you that everything's okay. Yeah. But in Quacks,
so none of that.
It's filthy. The instruments are just yanked out of the cupboard with no sterilization and it can, so be warned, people, if you do watch any Quacks.
Yeah, I didn't find it too bad.
Yeah.
This one's also a bit saucier than some of our usual, most of the things we nominate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
There was some nudity in one of the episodes. Yes,
I'd say it's probably not one for the kids.
No.
This particular choice.
Unless, you don't mind them seeing some bum cheek or something like that. But, there is more.
Yeah, when Scalpel comes out, look out. All right, so this is a BBC production? It was produced for the BBC.
Did it go out on number 1 or BBC 2 or BBC 3?
I don't know.
Oh, poor research. Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
I don't look any further than BBC.
Okay.
So yes, it's from the UK, and as we've said, there was one series which aired in 2017. Famous stars and other interesting background. Well, our 4 main characters are all friends, colleagues, have existing relationships, and they're, as we've already said, they're pushing the boundaries of medical stuff of the day. We've got Rory Kinnear starring as Robert Lessing, who is a showy, highly competent surgeon. And, of course, we know Rory from Count Arthur Strong.
Yeah.
Which we covered in episode 25.
Absolutely.
But he's got hair in this.
Yeah. Very healthy hair.
Yeah.
That's a testament to his abilities that they're such unbelievably different characters.
Yes.
I'm sure you'll go into that later.
Yes. Lydia Leonard plays Carolyn, Robert's wife. She's a smart, forceful woman who aspires to be a doctor. But society at that time wasn't having any of that.
No.
So that's one of the plot points. Lydia, from what I can tell, does mostly dramatic roles.
Okay.
Matthew Bainton, who we also know, stars as William, who is an early psychologist and Robert's best friend.
Oh.
Who's got a thing for Carolyn. He's also got this situation, William, where his father is unwell and needs some care, but obviously he hasn't quite got the the dosh to cover this care that his dad needs.
Oh, meaning that he's in a home and it's very pricey home?
I don't think it's a home. It's he needs some medical treatment.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that becomes
ongoing.
that becomes a plot point in this episode. So he's been offered some help by a lady called Mina, who has had a crush on William for a long time, since they were kiddies.
Well, that sounds quite nice and romantic, but I'm sure it's not.
Well, we'll see. Of course, we know Matthew from Horrible Histories and also Yonderland, and he's been in lots of other stuff as well.
Yeah.
We covered Yonderland back in episode 7 of the podcast.
Yep, that went into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I'm sure as this one will.
Let's pack it up now.
yeah, let's pack it up. Tom Basden plays John, who is a dentist with a penchant for trying out new drugs, sometimes on himself.
Oh, yeah. It's only fair. If he's going to muck about with people's lives by giving them new stuff, it's only fair he takes them himself. Yeah.
So his thing is finding new ways to deliver anaesthetics and that sort of thing.
Oh, righto.
Did I say he's a dentist?
Mm.
Yes, obviously that would be helpful.
Yeah.
When you're pulling someone's tooth out with a pair of pliers.
Oh.
So he's a bit of a rogue. Tom has also been in quite a few comedies, such as Plebs, which I hadn't heard of, but it's run for 5 seasons.
Isn't it some sort of Roman thing? Well, yeah, it's back in the...
Yes. Have you seen it?
No.
It's just appeared on your radar at some point. And then also Afterlife, which is the latest Ricky Gervais sitcom.
Okay.
Now, another regular member of the cast, but who sits outside the main 4 characters, is Dr. Hendricks, played by Rupert Everett, who's a well-known actor.
Famous man.
So he's the head of the medical school where Robert works, and a bit of a twit. But he's very well played. He's also the royal physician, so he's way up there in society.
Ah.
One of those people you better please if you want to
get along.
Ahead.
Yeah, fair enough.
We've also got a guest star in this episode, which is Ben Wilbond, who is also from the Horrible Histories Yonderland trip.
Right,
Sorry?
nepotism.
Well, maybe. He plays Patrice Dupont, a French surgeon.
Who's going to probably come in and out-style Lessing, or whatever his name. We'll find out.
He might try.
Now, who's the bloke from Horrible Histories who turns up in absolutely everything, and he's in Detectorists, and he was in Mindhorn, and always loves to be nudie whenever he can, or at the very least topless? Barnaby? Yes. Is his name Barnaby?
No, I can't remember.
No. Anyway.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, that's the dude. Yep. Well, at least it's not him, because he's in everything.
Yes, let us cast off our robes.
Yeah. He'd be a distraction. Yes.
Yes, and this one's written by James Wood. Now, I've watched the DVD since you got it for me fairly recently. What about you? You've seen a bit of it, but not...
Yeah.
Not the one we're going to watch tonight.
No, I have not seen this episode, no.
Okay. Well...
And I always was under the impression, and I don't know why, that Quacks went for 45 minutes to an hour. But it doesn't, so that's handy.
Yes, let's clear that up straight away. Why were you under that impression?
I don't know. Odd, isn't it? Because I had watched one episode in the past that you recommended to me, and maybe it just seemed like it went on for a long time. I don't know.
It's not a good sign.
No, I enjoyed it. So I'm glad to see it's only half an hour, so that's good. But if you're in Britain, obviously there's no problems getting hold of a DVD. We have to have a region-free DVD player to watch it. Yep. So do we know at all if it's been to the States or if it's available on any streaming networks? Can people, is there a BBC service perhaps in the States people can watch this on? No answers?
No idea.
Okay, we'll be interested to hear that or read it in any comments.
Do send the comments in. Well, let's go away and watch it for half an hour and come back.
Okay.
Mr. Lessing, I have something to reveal to you. The female patient with a hernia I mentioned earlier in the week does not actually exist. The person with a hernia is, in fact, myself.
No,
acute, so I wish for the operation to be done soon.
May I examine the lump?
Certainly not. What I've realized is that it is not necessary for me to choose between yourself and Monsieur Dupin's surgeons. You're both here at the hospital this week. I can get you both to do it. Monsieur Patrice says he's willing to operate on me, which is a great honor. But I'm also aware that he is French and therefore not entirely to be trusted. So I'd like you to attend as his second.
You're asking me to perform surgery as his assistant?
No, I'm telling you to.
What if I refuse?
If you were to refuse to treat the royal physician at the hospital he runs, no one would be foolish enough to do that, would they?
And we're back.
Yep.
Yep, we're back. Let us tell you about this episode of Quacks. So we open, Jeff, with Robert stitching someone up. And they're laid out on the operating table. So they're in the... By the way, this operating table is in I guess you'd call it a theatre with an observation area. This must be where they do lectures for the medical students or something like that, and demonstrations and all this sort of stuff. Yep, so there's room for people to stand around and have a look. So John is there and he's administering an anaesthetic to this patient, and he takes his pulse and realises that this guy has just kicked the bucket, which doesn't go down particularly well with Robert because, it's not only one of his patients, but it's his accountant as well. And so he shoots John a bit of a withering look, and John says, "Yes, I kill people by mistake sometimes." It happens. And he does say that they've administered chloroform to 7 people this week, and only this fool
has died.
So,
so he's improving greatly.
Yes, the odds are getting better. They're getting better in favour of the patient all the time.
Yeah.
So Robert stomps off to tell the widow of what's happened.
Yeah.
And there's a guy there. I don't know if he's like a porter or... He obviously does the heavy lifting around the place.
Yeah.
And he asks if he can turn the body into candles. And that happens before Robert storms off.
Yeah.
And he says, "No, this is my accountant. He's a respectable man." But as soon as Robert leaves, John says, "Go on, turn him into candles." And they say, "We'll just throw some potatoes into the coffin and no one will be any wiser."
Which,
a slightly dark comedy.
Yeah. But
Robert,
at least they lighten the mood with the potato thing.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
Quite. Robert is summoned to the university, where we find Dr. Hendricks, who is, to refresh your memory, the guy in charge. He's finishing a consultation with a mother about her child's teething problems. And we'll talk about his prescription a bit later on. It's interesting. Unconventional.
Cruel to the local wildlife.
Yes. So Robert sits down, his patient's gone now. Robert sits down, and Dr. Hendricks tells Robert about this patient he's got, which he will refer to as she, and he's essentially asking for Robert's second opinion. And Robert says that based on the description of the symptoms, this patient's going to need a hernia operation, which is, back in these days, a dangerous thing. Whereas these days, I think it's
in and out in a day.
It's one of the most common surgeries you get. Yeah. Anyway, so apparently this lady is considering the French surgeon Patrice Dupont for the operation, as he is swift, deft, handsome, and precise.
Oh well, there you go.
Of course, handsomeness is one of the key things you should be looking for
in a doctor. Yep. It guarantees success.
I would have thought a steady hand would be more important, but
quite.
Who knows? Yeah, so Patrice, the massively overrated Frenchman, is coming to the university this week to show off his skills, which no doubt obviously puts Robert's nose out of joint, because he is we're led to believe he's the leading surgeon. Yeah, the preeminent English surgeon. Matthew and Carolyn meet secretly in a carriage. She announces that she's had a gutful of being married to Robert, and she intends to run off, leaving him. And she says to Matthew, "How about we
run away together?"
Ah. And there's a bit of ankle kissing.
Through sock.
Through sock.
Oh.
Yeah. Of course, through sock.
Maybe he likes a mouthful of sock. Well, it's probably very expensive, high-quality sock.
They both seem to be enjoying it.
Oh.
Yes. Or is it sock or is it stocking?
Well, yes, it had a lacy appearance about it, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Whereas we think of a stocking, it's quite sheer, but this was anything but.
No.
I'm going to go with sock.
Right. Okay.
Lacy sock.
I think it's a stocking.
Yeah, if you're an expert on these matters,
Yes. Send us your feedback.
sitcomshowdown@gmail.com.
Yes. John. Next we go to John in his surgery, which is kind of a pretty dingy place.
Wow, it is.
He's demonstrating the use of ether using his apparatus to a bunch of people who must be other London dentists or something like that, right?
I reckon it gives that impression very strongly.
Yep. So he pulls the tooth of this patient who's been knocked out, and he comes to after the tooth has come out, and he confirms that it's painless, which is impressive, but no one wants to buy his kit.
No.
Bit of a letdown. So they all nick off, these people, and we find that Patrice Dupont has been sitting in the corner the whole time. He introduces himself saying, "I am a very great surgeon."
No. He's just like Robert, very humble.
Yeah, humility. He recognises John's unique set of skills, though, and the advances that he's making, so he offers to set up a deal between the two of them, which John knocks back because he's got an established relationship with someone else, i.e. Robert.
Yep.
So, yes, he's doing the right thing, or appears to be. Talking of Robert, in his living room, Robert is telling Matthew about his marriage being on the rocks.
Dun, dun, dun.
Confiding it in his friend.
Oh.
He
the
tells
friend who was earlier kissing sock?
Yes, kissing his wife's ankle. He tells Matthew that he can't lose her, he needs her, he loves her deeply, despite being strong-willed and rude, etc., etc.
Oh.
Matthew says, "Are you sure? What about the prostitutes you visit?" But yeah, Robert confesses that he doesn't do anything with these prostitutes when he goes to visit them. So Robert clearly thinks that she might be having an affair, which puts Matthew, who's an emotionally sensitive guy, in a bit of a spot.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
He can't confess, and then he has to give Robert advice to win her back, which in some ways he wouldn't want. But then Robert is his friend. Oh, he's in a very tricky situation.
Yeah, but he does ask some questions. Yeah, that is the conundrum. But he asks Robert some questions to confirm his sincerity about his affections for his wife.
Yep.
And then does give him some good advice.
Yeah, it is good advice.
Yeah. He does go a little bit over the top, though, explaining how wonderful this woman is that he's secretly in love with. But Robert's not on that wavelength at all. So he's waxing lyrical about her and her ankles. Robert wraps up this conversation because he's off to start a smear campaign against Patrice Dupont. And he invites Matthew along. They pick up some pies.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the way. As you do when you're on your way to see an operation.
Spectator sport? Yeah,
exactly.
That's right.
So we cut back to the operating theatre that we were in before. But this time there's a large crowd gathered around to see Patrice Dupont. Robert wastes no time in endeavouring to start some vicious rumours, saying that Patrice has been slandering the Queen and has some outrageous sexual proclivities. But
and then he goes, "Pass it on."
Yeah,
not very subtle.
He's pretty hopeless at it, I have to say.
Yeah.
The guy we were talking about before, the porter or the guy who helps around the place, he comes in and gives this lavish introduction to Patrice Dupont, which is hilarious.
Yeah, the Baron of the Blade.
Yeah.
Patrice Dupont.
That's it. He gets them all pumped up.
He's the hype man.
Yeah, Patrice comes in and he starts telling the people about his Japanese blades. Razor sharp and forged in Japan and blah, 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 blah. Then he explains he's going to operate on this man who has no nose after suffering from... Yeah.
Anyway.
Does he smell?
Terrible.
Suffering from syphilis.
All right.
Yeah. So he talks about how he's going to take a flap of skin from this guy's forehead and create a nose with it, which I guess was another one of these groundbreaking techniques. He also introduces John, who is going to be administering anaesthetic.
And
What's with that?
well, I mean, the expression on Robert's face.
So
Traitor.
John has obviously caved into some ridiculously good offer that Patrice made him after we cut away from that previous scene. Flipping great wadges of cash must be involved. So this just provokes Robert even further, and he basically gets ejected from the theatre, and that's where we leave that for the time being. So now we go to a scene of Matthew and Miss Mina, who I mentioned in the outline I gave of Quacks.
Yes, the young lady who's in love with Matthew from his childhood that he's not overly fond of, but who is paying the bills for his father's care.
Yes, exactly.
Is
Well
that a
done.
good summary?
Well done, Jeff.
Oh, excellent.
You could be doing this.
Well, look, the writers have done a good job in getting all that information out to me.
Yep.
Oh,
Yes. So she's visiting him. She's brought some apple snowballs. I have no idea what an apple snowball is.
no, but it looked good and it sounds good. Well, if they've taken the core out of it,
Yeah, decored the apple.
decor the apple,
Prior
it could
to
be quite nice.
snowballing it.
Mm.
It seems that Matthew, the proto-psychologist, is a bit slow on the uptake of what's actually going on here. But they get around to the subject of his father's health, which has improved greatly due to the care he's getting in the home that she's paying for. And she talks about hoping to support his father,
Matthew's father,
in the home beyond the end of the month. And he starts going, so what? Anyway, the implication is that he needs to declare his intentions towards her, i.e. of marriage, if he wants the money to keep flowing. I mean, she says it in perfectly, it's all very polite and implied
expressed
and everything.
in a non-sinister way.
Yes, that's right. Doesn't want to pressure him.
Danced around.
Don't want to pressure you. And then she asks him to attend the Barnstable Herring Festival later this month. Now, I'm going to digress slightly.
Brilliant.
Onto
Okay,
the
I'm
subject
looking
of
forward to
herring
this.
festivals.
Woohoo, let's go.
So this is still a thing in Devon, which is where Barnstable is.
Right. That's where Jesus was born, by the way. As per the Vicar of Dibley.
Oh.
Jesus was born in Barnstable.
Yeah, I'm not.
No, Alice. He was born in a stable.
Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry, I've messed that up. It was Dunstable, not Barnstable. Well, it's an easy mistake to make.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's
Apologies to the
Confucius
Vicar of Dibley fans.
So the Herring Festival is still a thing in Devon, and
Right.
on the 17th of November this year, you could attend one if you wanted to.
If any of the organisers of the Herring
Actually,
Festival are listening,
I've just chopped off
Get
the
in
name
touch.
of this village where it's happening, which is really annoying. But anyway, it's the time of the year when this historic... I'm reading from their blurb about it.
right.
Jeff's wondering whether this is going to make the cut or not.
No, it will.
It's the time of the year when our historic village celebrates the coming of the great silver darlings, better known as herring. The village always depended on the harvest of herring, caught in superb conditions for a short season off this coast. Records go back over 400 years, and in 1749 there were about 100 herring boats in the port. When fishing was good, 9,000 herring could be landed at one time. Those days of massive catches are long gone. These days we
I'm
have
not bloody
just
surprised. Unsustainably whipping out all the bloody fish.
the poor herring. These days they have just 2 herring fishermen left. But they you'll be glad to hear this. They're employing sustainable fishing methods using only drift nets and long lines.
Next thing you know, they'll be reduced to diving in by hand and scooping them up.
Yeah, having to use a...
There's only 8 herring left in the world, chaps. You're going to have to dive in and scoop one up by hand.
Yep, but the festival lives on.
Oh, good.
Yes, okay. Be glad. I knew you'd be glad to hear that.
Yeah. No, look, it's amazing how many of these things still exist, like the black pudding throwing championships and all these sorts of things.
Yeah.
You could do an entire tour,
It's pretty
I'm
nifty.
sure, of the UK just going to these obscure events.
Yep. We appreciate these things because we come from a place where we don't have any
Obscure.
tremendously long-lived traditions.
No, that's right.
Yes. Anyway, shall we start
We'll
talking about
press
Quacks
on.
again?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So Robert and Carolyn are at home and he's trying to implement Matthew's advice. She becomes rather suspicious, though, when he takes an interest in what she's reading. And he says that he's got a telescope for them to use together. And he says, I bought you the stars.
No.
So they go out on the balcony together to get it set up. And he says, come over here and have the first look. But it doesn't go well because he kind of turns his back to her as she's coming over, and he donks the end of the far end of the telescope, which whips the other end up towards her nose and cracks her one.
And gives her a blood nose.
In the schnoz.
Oh.
And gives her a blood nose. But she does take the opportunity. She's got bits of rags
tissue shoved up there.
To ask if she could observe him at work and possibly assist him in a medical capacity.
Oh.
And he says, I would love for you to do that.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do that.
It's not his first instinct, is it?
No.
No, but he's pressing on. Next, we find Carolyn visiting Matthew and telling him how strange Robert has been behaving. And Matthew tells her that he's acting this way because he fears that he's losing you, and he's trying to win you back. And he explains he knows this because Robert told him all about it. So Matthew gave him some counsel, and he said to show you the stars metaphorically, not.
Yeah.
So they have a bit of a chuckle about the fact that he actually bought a telescope.
Yeah.
Yes. And he does actually counsel her to accept Robert's overtures.
Mm-hmm.
So he's doing the right thing by his friend.
He's an extremely noble man.
He is.
William.
Talking of Robert, he is making his way to the university, and he's outside, and Dr. Hendricks calls him over and reveals to Robert that he is the lady with the hernia.
Oh. The mystery patient.
The mystery patient. And he is happy because he will have both Patrice and Robert at the surgery.
The two finest surgeons out there.
Yes, the hernia surgery. The two finest, but Robert will be Patrice's second. Now, this sounds to me a bit like a duel. Wasn't a second the person who would back you up if you were going for a duel?
Yeah.
They would make sure your guns were all
But that would imply
ready
they're
to rock
on the same team, but they're not. Unless the hernia is the enemy.
Yes.
And Patrice is the main combatant, and Robert is the second.
Yes, well, perhaps.
Yeah.
But in any case, what it really means is that Robert is going to be Patrice's assistant during the procedure. As Patrice is French and not entirely to be trusted.
Yeah. I've got that on my list of gags.
Of course. Anyway, so this the announcement that Robert is going to be the assistant doesn't go down well. This is going to be a bit of a blow to his ego.
No, this is a massive affront to his front-runner status. I don't know of any way to put it. But yeah, he's not a happy camper at all.
No, but he's essentially ordered to do it. So
yeah.
What choice has he got? There's a lovely outdoor scene with Matthew proposing to Mina, who says, "Oh, this is so unexpected." And then they have a hug, and you can see him hugging her, and he's just got this look on his face as if to say, "Oh my goodness, what have I done?" But anyway, he's doing the right thing by other people.
He's done what he had to do, exactly.
Yes, he's done his duty. So, Carolyn is outside a shop which is up for lease. She's got something cooking there. And later at home with Robert, she announces that she's found the perfect place for a new venture. He manages to tear himself away from the book that he was reading because he's so interested in her.
I'm listening.
I'm listening. I'm listening to you, my love. Anyway, she says it's her idea is to start a women's only clinic. And he just erupts at this point.
Throws his book down.
Yeah, there's a bit of shouting, and he confesses that he doesn't know how to say "I love you" to her. And there's more shouting, and the sparks start flying, and then there's snogging, and they disappear behind the couch.
Yeah.
I think I found the perfect place for a new venture I have in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Are you interested to hear what it is?
Of course I'm interested, my darling. I'm listening to you. I'm keen to support you in every way a husband can. You are the only person in the world.
I want to open a women's only clinic.
Oh, don't be ridiculous!
I thought you were going to support me.
At something reasonable, at watching me work, not ridiculous ideas.
It's not ridiculous. You're ridiculous.
I am not! How dare you!
What's the matter with you at the moment?
What's the matter with you all the time?
1 minute you're spouting badly rehearsed flattery, and the next you're telling me to follow my dreams.
I don't know how to say such things. Do you understand?
What things? Get off me. What things?
I don't know how to say I love you.
Get off.
You get off.
Oh, this goes to show he exposed a bit of vulnerability and honesty, and next thing you know...
Yes, nature's taking its course.
Yeah, exactly.
As it were.
There's a lesson in there for everybody.
Yeah, what's that?
Oh, be a genuine human being.
Right.
Yeah, how's that?
Yeah, okay.
Steve's looking at me as if I'm insane.
Show a bit of human frailty.
That's right.
Yeah, which for him is not such an easy thing to do.
No way.
No.
Because he's entirely practical and hasn't got a romantic bone in his body. Well, maybe one.
Plus he's got such a high opinion of himself.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously concerned about how he appears to other people. Anyway.
Yeah, we're not here for psychoanalysis.
No,
That's Matthew's job.
That is. The hernia operation.
Oh, hang on. William.
Yes.
The actor is named Matthew. My bad.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, sorry.
That's fine. We know what you're talking about.
Right.
Onto the hernia operation. Patrice is clearly milking the fact that he, a Frenchman, is operating on the royal physician himself in the Westminster Medical Association's HQ. He's got John there to administer chloroform, which is when the penny drops about what's going on there. So it's apparent that Patrice has offered him some kind of huge payment, but it also becomes apparent that he intends to kind of rip John off by slapping his name on the
pump system he's created to administer the chloroform.
That's not great.
Which he spent 4 years on.
But
he says.
Yes, that's right. But the thing I like is that earlier in the episode, we saw in this very location Robert and John doing an operation and administering chloroform, and of course the guy carks it. So it's upping the stakes, Jeff.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows what is going to happen next. Carolyn is also there, assisting Robert as per her request, so that's good to see. And Robert is clearly swallowing his pride, intending to assist by passing things to Patrice. Now, they pull up Dr. Hendrick's gown to reveal the hernia. Carolyn notices that the hernia has a pulse.
It's throbbing away.
It's going bloop, bloop, bloop. Which means it's not a hernia after all, but an aneurysm.
Uh-oh.
So she mentions this
to hubby.
To hubby, who's clearly in a quandary as to...
This, I had to stop the episode at this point because I realised what was going on.
What he was contemplating in his mind.
Yeah, and also, setting aside, it's a great moment that she has obviously been studying for all this medical stuff and spots something two brilliant surgeons didn't. So there's a whole lot of justice going on there. And yeah.
Oh, look, when the knives are out, you just want to
get in there,
wail away at the
hack away
protrusion.
At the boss.
She's got no time to spare to see if things are throbbing or not.
Yeah, exactly. So you're gonna set up the quandary that Robert is in here with the boss on the slab there.
I was intending to cover that in my
excellent.
final...
Let's do that. Oh, well, yeah, okay. Anyway, right.
Yes. Anyway, so she mentions this to Robert, and then he, at the conclusion of his contemplation, he decides to point it out to Patrice, who says, don't bother me with your questions, you're merely here to pass me stuff. So he gets onto it, cuts in, and of course he cuts into the doctor's main artery to his leg. Blood goes everywhere.
Oh.
And Robert announces, you've got 30 seconds to fix this before he dies.
Yeah.
Yep. Patrice is clearly flustered, and Carolyn says, to fix it, you've got to tie the artery. And Robert says, no, you can't do it down there. You've got to tie the artery
it's too
further
thin,
up.
You've got to...
Where you can't get any purchase if you're going to tie the artery
down
there. You've got to do it further up.
Yeah.
Yes, anyway, blood continues to go everywhere, and Robert, knowing that the doc and the boss, doc/boss, is going to die in approximately 15 seconds.
Without doubt, because Patrice, Mr. Frenchman Dupont, is completely... He's still in denial that he's made a mistake. He doesn't know what he's
Patrice.
doing. Exactly.
What is this?
Yeah, precisely. They've
so
got to act quickly here.
Yeah, so he has a quick word to John, and John whips out the chloroform, knocks Patrice out with it.
Yep, which he's quite happy to do, since a minute ago Patrice was about to rip off his pump.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't be too upset if it was a lethal dose.
Yeah.
So he's out of the picture, and Carolyn helps Robert into his operating gown, which, did you notice that when Patrice puts his on, it's all nice and
Pristine.
and everything like that. And Robert's is just covered in
Filthy
dried
muck
up,
and...
filthy mud. So, it's quite the contrast.
Just endless layers of caked in blood that's gone all brown and...
Yes, well, things such as cleanliness are... It's not an established requirement at this point in time. Anyway, so he's in his operating gown and he starts calmly talking the crowd through what he's about to do, as Carolyn is handing him the tools that he's going to need without even being asked to.
With 7 seconds to spare.
Yeah. It's quite dramatic. So he goes in, ties the artery off higher up, like he was saying needed to be done.
And to do that, he has to hack a great big hole in the boss slightly further up his abdomen.
Yeah, he just goes in and does it in 2 seconds flat.
Shoves his hand in there. Anyway,
Both hands.
Oh, does he really?
Both hands, yeah.
Right.
He's got to go behind the bowel
to
find this artery.
Holy moly.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. And he says, so he's done that, so the immediate danger is finished, but his conclusion is that with the blood flow to the leg having been cut off as it was, the leg would have to come off.
Uh-oh.
And he's already sharpening his
cleaver.
Sharpening his saw.
Great big cleaver.
Kind of looking forward to lopping the...
I hate my boss. I'm going to lop off his leg.
I'll have your leg, matey. But Carolyn suggests an alternative because there is a chance that the leg will recover. And she says, you can always cut it off later and get huge credit for doing so, if you have to. Which is brilliant. So that's what Robert decides to do, and he announces this to the crowd as they look on. Carolyn gives Matthew a quick smile as he's entered the theatre partway through all this drama. And it's clear that she's loving being a part of all this action going on,
but also
and helping out.
Painfully reminds us that he's already pledged himself to another lady.
Yep.
And so it's a bit bittersweet. And
How bittersweet for who, do you think?
For him, because he's getting a smile and seeing her, her ambitions are getting fulfilled. So he's probably incredibly happy for her at this point because she's done such a brilliant job. And yet he knows he's got no part of it because he's going to be marrying a lady he doesn't want to be married to. And,
yeah. All true, Jeff, all true. And Robert says, the doctor's life was saved here today by an Englishman.
And takes a bow.
Yeah. And someone, as we close, one of the other quacks is saying, he's going to be unbearable.
Yeah. Ah, dear.
He'll be tooting his own horn forever and a day.
Oh, well, but we never found out what happened because there's no series 2.
No. We never found out if the leg survived or not.
Right. Quick, on the blower to Rupert Everett.
Yeah.
And ask him what happened. Do you still have both your legs, Rupert? Yep. Oh, well, that's all right then.
Yeah. Anything to say before we
I
launch
thought
into some comments in this?
The throbbing aneurysm that wasn't a hernia reminded me a bit of Alien, I have to say.
Oh, really?
That was pretty cool. I thought a cute little alien was going to pop out at some point. But
That would have been an interesting turn of events.
Wow, yeah. No, but that didn't happen. So there you go. Anyway, over to you.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe you should.
Well,
why don't you take us through your list?
Okay, so I don't want to take away your revelation of the main big boss who got operated on earlier in the episode when he was dishing out advice to the young mum about what to do with her little problem.
Go ahead.
But
no, tell us what it was.
No, I shan't do that because I've got another one to go on to.
It's a prescription for a dead mole.
Yeah. So if you want to cure your son's teething,
yes, hang a dead mole around his neck,
and it should be fine. And this guy's the royal surgeon.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Cut his leg off.
Oh dear, oh dear. Anyway, yeah. So that was pretty good. So there's a scene, as you described, where Robert is confessing that he's scared of losing his wife to William, and because this is more or less a drama, he's looking wistfully out the window with his back to the person he's talking to, just like in every Days of Our Lives general hospital sort of thingo. And I thought, oh my God, they're playing up the cliches of drama here. It's this beautifully wistful scene. Anyway,
actually the music The emotional music cuts in at some point during that scene.
Yeah, it
as
really
he's
does.
waxing lyrical about Carolyn's virtues.
Yeah, and so Robert's taking on board the advice of William to be nicer to her. And he goes, "Oh, do I buy her flowers or biscuits?"
Yeah. That's his starting point.
Yeah, and so Rory Kinnear obviously delivers this brilliantly, and he's just got just the right pause, comic timing to bring it out. And biscuits, and that left me chuckling, that did.
What do you think about herring? Should that have been an option?
Yeah, should I buy her flowers or biscuits or some herring?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice one, Steve. Very good. Anyway, in the same scene, William's listing off all the great attributes and why of Robert's wife and why he should put in some effort to save the marriage. And he says, "Well, she's kind." And Robert says, "Not to me, she's not."
Yeah.
Which, again, beautifully delivered, just made me crack up. That was really good. But yeah, meanwhile, they're playing all this very emotional piano music and everything like that. So, it doesn't know what it wants to be, but we'll get there. Another one I really liked was when the telescope is being set up and everything, and he's just looking through it, and we get a beautiful shot of some stars and the moon and everything. He goes, "Oh, my dear, I can see the forests on the moon."
Yeah.
What?
What are you saying?
You blatantly can't see.
Why not?
Don't try and trap
Have you been
me
to
like
the
that.
moon?
No, I haven't been to the moon. I know it's known for its exports of cheese. But yeah, I can see the forests on the moon. That was fantastic. But overall, though, I sort of got caught up in watching the actual show rather than making notes about gags. But that's always a very good thing. Because if you've got lots of time to take notes, it means either something's very wrong or you're bored.
Okay, well,
There you go.
shall I flesh out the list a bit?
Yeah.
The fact that they've picked up a couple of pies to tuck into during the operation just cracked me up. Be the furthest thing from my mind.
Well, exactly.
Follows along. Yes, the reference to Patrice Dupont as the Baron of the Blades cracked me up quite a lot. Carolyn having the rag stuffed up her bloodied nose.
Yeah.
During the conversation on the balcony. During William's proposal to Mina, he says to her, "Will you make me the happiest man in the area?"
Yeah.
By agreeing to be my wife.
And the area is probably confined to the couple of acres of garden that they're in.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, and during the operation, of course, Robert says to John, "If we don't do something in the next 15 seconds, Hendrix will die. Is that what we want?"
And John's
And they're
like "I wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty good."
They hate his guts. Yes, and Robert stopping in the middle of the frantic dash to save the boss's life to say boo to the Frenchman. Everyone in the audience goes boo, boo. And yeah, when Matthew enters,
Like, he just can't stop the smear campaign even when he's clearly won the war. He can't help himself. Oh dear. Sorry, yes.
Matthew enters partway through the operation, as I mentioned. But when he comes in, he asks John, "How's this going?" And he says, "Oh, you're about to see Robert cut off Dr. Hendrick's leg." And Matthew goes, "Oh, good."
So he clearly doesn't like the boss either.
No, and he's obviously not squeamish at all. He's probably probably picked himself up another pie.
Oh, well, possibly so. And he and we, the audience, have seen Robert do a lot worse.
Yes.
Oh.
He can't.
Does hang
You've
on,
seen
have
the first
they?
episode.
They've cleverly
He cut his bollock off.
This
His
is
bollock off.
Yeah, this is classic mirroring and top and tailing. So they start the series with an operation of someone who's got to have his leg cut off with a cleaver or whatever, and they end it with a very similar thing.
Yeah.
Genius. And they've made a lot of progress in between.
Yeah. And my last one is Robert saying, "I would quite like to cut it off."
Yes.
He's got his saw in his hand while
He's ready to go.
Yeah. He could have it off in
2 or 3
seconds.
Yeah.
Mere seconds.
According to the big description we get in the first episode of Quacks.
Yep. Well, isn't he going for a new
he's got
speed
the
record or
record.
something like that?
Yes, he is. Right, well, that's always a sign of good writing, I think.
Well, now I've got arguments in favour of the aforementioned episode.
All right. Well, before you
got
launch
anything
into that,
further?
yeah,
Yeah.
I have got something more to say. I'll just, when Robert and his wife are having their argument that ends in the snogging and the roll around on the couch,
Yep.
it's just so unbelievably awkward. And I've written down it's delightfully awkward love scene / argument. And again, there's nothing we can point to and say that's a great line. But the acting just makes the whole thing, and you're just going, oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you'd even put that in the script.
No. Yeah, how would you do that? I don't know. Let the director handle all that sort of thing, I suppose. Who was the director of this? You mentioned
I don't know.
somebody. It was probably one of their mates from Horrible Histories or something
might
like
be.
that.
Might be. All right, well, let me go through some arguments here. The first one is that this is a very well-produced show. It's a lavish production. Let's compare it, Jeff, to Upstart Crow.
Oh, yeah.
I guess is another period sitcom produced at roughly the same time, a couple of years ago.
Yep.
But Upstart Crow's probably got, 3 sets?
Mm-hmm.
Max, something like that, and they're all indoor. It's a studio-bound
Yeah.
show, basically, made on the cheap.
Is it filmed on video? Whereas I don't even know how it works these days with filming on film versus video and these things. But this has a more filmic look than Upstart Crow.
Yeah.
Which
It's got outdoor shots.
Oh, lots of brilliant outdoor shots.
Heaps of sets.
Yeah.
And the costumes are all amazing. I mean, BBC always do costumes well, but...
But there was... I can't remember which scene it was or whether it was even this episode. But even in the far background, you've got this vendor's cart, which is like got strings of braced up dead pheasant on it and things like that. And the detail is insane. So they'd have to go and get, I don't know whether they were actual dead pheasants or whether they have dozens of them in the prop stores somewhere. But yeah, it's definitely, it beats Upstart Crow in the sumptuousness of the visuals and the direction and everything.
Well, I think I'd struggle to name one that we've covered to date that would best this.
Yeah.
Secondly,
Yeah.
as you've already said, it's very well acted. There's a lot of humour that's subtly conveyed in looks and dialogue. And I had a couple of examples in addition to the ones you raised, which is the scene where Dr. Hendricks is asking Robert for a second opinion about the lady friend with the hernia, which is all, I mean, everything they're doing is conveying the fact that Dr. Hendricks is the lady, and Robert immediately understands that he is the lady, but they don't actually, I mean, there's nothing to give it away on face value. And the other one is Robert's inner battle as he's forcing himself to be attentive to Carolyn. Just the way Rory's acting this is brilliant. Like he set the telescope up, and you can tell he's just so pumped to look through this thing at the forests on the moon, etc. But he reins himself back in and offers her the first look and all this stuff. And later he's reading the book and he's like controlling himself.
Why is she annoying me now? I just want to read this bloody book.
Yep.
He's thinking to himself.
Exactly. And then the third example is Miss Mina manipulating Matthew, manipulating in air quotes. Anyone who's watched a period drama or two would know what's up here. But usually it's the woman who's forced to marry in order to get the family out of a sticky situation.
Oh, okay.
So they have flipped that here, which is kind of cool. So Matthew proposes and she exclaims, "How unexpected." So it's jokes like that. No, it's not bloody unexpected at all.
It's been her number one goal from the moment she tried to
practically put a gun
herself.
to his head. So there's loads of funny bits where you have to pay attention to what's going on. And I said, this is no Vic and Bob. They're not thumping you over the head with the jokes.
No.
Third, I like how this episode reveals Robert's fairly well-hidden love for Carolyn.
Oh, okay.
Which flips
So
everything.
what, there was no hints of that in the previous episodes?
Well, you've seen previous episodes.
Well, but, I missed the ones where they were dealing with that and these sorts of things. But yeah, it was. I didn't get any indication that he...
I mean, you knew he was visiting prostitutes and
that sort of thing.
out and about on the town at all hours and
Yeah. Not much there to indicate he values his marriage or anything.
nothing like that. So, yeah, it's completely flips all that and makes him much more likeable in the process. And, yes,
Oh, I rolled my eyes at that.
Rolling
Yeah,
your eyes.
well, it was very nice to see them working as a brilliant team in the last 5 minutes of the show.
yes.
And
Well,
you feel like there's some hope there.
I'm just about to say here, it sets up the final scene because they've resolved Matthew's storyline. So we've put the love triangle.
Yep.
We've put that behind us at that point. But the other three major characters, apart from Matthew, have something on the line at this point. Robert's got the opportunity to cement his reputation by saving the life of the royal physician.
Yep.
He just has to do it at this point. And, there is the risk, as I said, that Dr. Hendricks is going to end up like the poor fella at the start of the episode.
Ooh.
So there's no guarantees that he's going to be able to pull this off. Carolyn's got the opportunity to demonstrate that women can do medicine.
Uh-huh.
And John's got the chance to show off his apparatus.
Mm.
Yes, on the big stage. So, in terms of the professional drama of the situation, everything's
Top notch.
hanging on this
Oh, right, yeah.
operation in the final scene.
Now I understand. Okay, yeah.
Is modern medicine going to triumph, Jeff?
Yeah, well, it does.
Or are we going to continue hanging moles around our necks?
Yes.
I like the way the dialogue is handled in this final scene as well, because you've got these conversations going on just between those characters, Robert, Carolyn and John. Like Carolyn giving Robert advice, but and Robert and John debating whether to save Dr. Hendricks or not.
Yeah.
All this is happening fairly quietly, out of the earshot of the people who are watching on.
Oh, yeah.
And then Robert will switch back to addressing the onlookers with this booming theatrical voice.
Yeah.
So I really like how they were doing that. Yes, so the script is very good. It all leads to this momentous final scene. Anything?
No, I'm
else
just
you want to
nodding
say?
in agreement, basically.
Oh, okay. Yes, English versus French banter is always enjoyable in a period sitcom.
Yep, it carries over from
Yes.
last episode when we did Hello.
Yep. Also thinking of Knob and Nobility
Oh, yeah.
from Blackadder the Third.
Yep.
Yep, that's a classic. The last thing I want to mention was the music. I think it's very good. It's using the instruments of the day, and the way they've done it builds tension and intrigue. And it reminds me a bit of the music from Guy Ritchie's Sherlock Holmes movies.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen those?
Yeah, with Iron Man.
Oh, yeah, Robert Downey Jr. as Sherlock. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the dude. Yeah, I have seen those, yeah.
And also like the guitar riff that's playing that kicks in
Yeah, in the
during
theme
the theme,
tunes.
because they are a bit rebellious, these people.
Oh, yeah, they're on the cutting edge of stuff.
Yeah.
They're the rock stars of medicine.
That's it.
Yeah.
See, you get it.
No, I do get it, yes.
Should I move to my summary?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I think Quacks has got an intriguing theme. It's lavish, well written and acted. A great comedy of manners with elements of darkness. I think this is the best of the episodes, as it's tying everything together that they've been working towards over the previous 5 episodes.
And I do think that if you'd never seen Quacks before, they've written it in such a way you could very easily catch on as to exactly what's going on.
Oh, okay.
Unlike Hello, where you'd be completely lost. Do you want me to chime in with my comments? Okay.
What have you got to say?
Look, I completely agree that it's well produced. It's got all the resources of all the best BBC historical dramas. And, I'm sure you can throw our list. We've got some Poldark action and some
that's a recent
Sense
one.
and Sensibility or something, and all these sorts of things.
All the Jane Austens and...
Yeah. So it's like they've got access to all those great resources. They've got very good comedy actors. I honestly would say this is more a drama than a comedy.
Oh,
It has
really?
got some good laughs in it, but am I only getting that impression because it's set in that historical thing with all the, and the directorial choices are very drama rather than 3 studio set sitcom multi-camera sort of things, you know what I mean? So it's sitcom done as a drama. But yeah, maybe that's why I get that impression, just because of the way they actually carry it out. The other thing was, over the show, because I like light things, over the show, there's this downward spiral of their lives. So you think, John could easily take the wrong substance and snuff it overnight, and then
Yep.
that would be trouble. and Robert's clearly heading for a bust-up with his lady, and then there's the deceit and the stress of William having an affair of sorts with... And I'm sorry, I do keep forgetting. Is it Carolyn, her name?
I keep calling him Matthew as well.
Yeah, Matthew and William.
Matthew being the actor.
Yeah, Matthew. Right, okay. So Robert's wife, is that Carolyn?
Yes, that's Carolyn.
Right.
No, that's
I was
Matthew.
about to keep calling her Gwendolyn. No, it's Matthewlyn. Yeah. Anyway, so over the course of the series, right, there's this horrible downward spiral of their lives.
Yep.
And yet you've got the opposite trajectory of the whole medicine field, which they're at the forefront at, which is having this extremely rapid progress upward and forward. So, you know what I mean? They're creating this whole thing as they go and propelling medicine forward while their own lives are nosediving horribly.
That's probably true to life, because a lot of people who are pushing the boundaries of different areas ruin their personal lives.
Because they're risk takers, or
well, because they're pursuing their professional lives
with extreme passion.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so I don't mean to overanalyze it. What I'm trying to do is set up here how really, really, really good, and as you say, well-produced this is. I mean, I look at it with a critical eye, and I can't really fault a single thing that was doing. There was nothing in there where I went, geez, that was a bit clumsy, or wow, that was a bit poor. Everything, the direction, the acting, the scripting, the drama, the whole thing. And it's yes, if the question is, would I put it into the Hall of Fame? I absolutely would. It's just
is the question.
Yeah, the only problem I have is it more drama than sitcom, Steve-O?
Oh.
Yeah, knowing that it's in, though, you can discuss it without fear.
Well, no doubt it's dramatic.
Yeah.
Because we're dealing with life and death surgery and people's marriages and relationships and friendships and stuff like that. And it could all go completely pear-shaped.
Yeah.
But I think they are walking the line between the two quite well.
And in the way it's produced
funny
as well. It's filmic and it's poldark with gags.
Maybe it is.
And there's no laugh track or anything like that.
Maybe because it's so lavishly produced, you tend to think of it.
I'm not sophisticated enough to be able to...
There's more of a drama than a comedy.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you were doing the TV guide listings, you would have to put in drama, comedy. Or would you put in comedy, drama? And does it make a difference?
I don't know.
Oh, we can leave this for another time, I suppose.
Yes, all right.
But anyway, yeah, good choice. Quacks is very impressive.
Yeah, well, unfortunately not impressive enough to get a second season. Maybe it cost them so much they couldn't do it.
I like that theory. That's probably the downfall, isn't it?
All right, well, is there anything else to say before we go?
Nope, jolly good. Well done, good choice.
Oh, thanks. And next month,
we're
doing something a bit different.
Okay, tell us all about it.
Well, the plan is that we'll each choose an actor or actress of more than one well-known sitcom, presumably, and nominate them, give a run-through of them and their career, and nominate them for, let's say, a different room or a different hall within the Hall of Fame.
Okay. Yep.
I'm pretty excited about it. I've actually gone through most of my stuff already, so it's been interesting putting that together.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
So yeah, prepare for a little bit of chaos, listener, because we don't have the
formula's not being
the formula
written yet.
Perfectly said. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, that's next month. And until then, take care. Keep on enjoying sitcoms.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Cheers.
Join us next time on Sitcom Showdown when we'll be putting another 5-star episode under the microscope. And in the meantime, you can contact us with feedback on Facebook, Twitter @Sitcom Showdown, or by email sitcomshowdown@gmail.com.